Wake up, Link.
Look, you don't need me to tell you how bad 2020 was. The year started out with Australia on fire, and honestly, never got better from there. But I mean, we all lived through it, we all know. I'm not here to put some arbitrary meaning behind why a specific year, which is really just a construct of time, has any significance to it. I just want to talk about video games, that's what I do. And this year has definitely been a year for video games. With a bunch of big releases and some notable issues. Playing video games is one of the things we could actually do this year that helped take our mind off of everything. And while I would have been spending all my free time playing them anyway, this year has definitely given me extra time to play different games. So I figured I'd talk a little about the games that really made 2020 for me. Now this list won't necessarily just be games that came out in 2020. While I do play a lot of new releases, I also sometimes play games that came out a little while ago that I never got around to, or just decided to pick up and replay. This of course is my personal list of the best games I played in 2020, and does not necessarily mean that these are the best games that came out this year. There is a little overlap in some places, but ultimately these are just the games I enjoyed playing. You might have different choices, and I'd love to hear those in the comments below. With all of that out of the way, here are my top 5 games I played in 2020. Animal Crossing is a series that I am always excited about. And once we started seeing stuff about New Horizons, I could not wait to get my hands on it. It could not have come out at a more perfect time than when a lot of us started going into quarantine. And it blows my mind the sheer amount of people that were playing this game. I have friends that barely even touch video games picking this game up. For a lot of people, this was their first entry into the series. And for me, it was a great way to keep in touch with and still hang out with some of my friends, and meeting new people within the community. The sheer amount of customization available through terraforming and placing items outside really lended itself to people's creativity. And it was so cool to be able to go over to friends' islands and see just what they had come up with. I even hosted a graduation ceremony for my friend who graduated college, and couldn't have an in-person ceremony due to the pandemic. It was truly a wonderful time. One of the biggest surprises to me this year was the announcement and release of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. My only exposure to the Warriors games so far has been the original Hyrule Warriors, and that game honestly surprised me with how much I enjoyed it. And thankfully this one did not disappoint. For as much as I love Breath of the Wild, the one thing always on my mind as I explored Hyrule's ruins was wanting to see what it looked like before. Getting to walk through the towns, experience the calamity firsthand, and seeing characters as their younger selves was really such a rewarding treat. And something about that Warriors playstyle just does not get stale. I can sit there and play it for hours and hours, completing side quests and slaying thousands of monsters, and I still want to keep going. The story is really engaging, and minor spoilers, yes, there is time travel, yes, it does create a split timeline, but I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. Like, that's what the entire Zelda series is. Ocarina of Time created 3 timelines. I'm not worried about this. This was a wonderful holdover until we get more information about Breath of the Wild 2. So here's the first one on the list not from this year. I've never looked into the Fire Emblem series. It's always just been that thing in Smash Bros. That had too many characters that were all basically the same thing. So when there were entire Nintendo Directs dedicated to 3 houses, I was more annoyed than anything else. In February, my friend brought over his copy of the game though, and I got to experience the series for the first time. And so over the span of the weekend, I went from never having touched the series and honestly being kind of annoyed by it, to dropping money for the game and all the DLC for it. The moment I finally got a grasp on the mechanics, I was hooked. It was the first game that I put over 300 hours into over my Switch, something that has only so far been beaten by Animal Crossing. And it's something I got crazy dedicated to. I played through every single route, I've played around with every single character possible in the game, played through the entire DLC, and just had so much fun with it. The world is beautiful, it's very well crafted, and the lore behind it is so interesting to uncover. There's so many different possibilities, and it's just, I can't over-exaggerate how amazing that game felt. Perhaps I treated this series too harshly. A genre of games that I'm probably too hesitant on a lot of times is roguelikes, or roguelites. I still don't really know the difference. But boy, Hades is a whole different thing. After one of my friends bugged me enough about playing it, I finally decided to look into it, and that was one of the best decisions I've made all year. I'm typically not into the get good style of games, where there's this level of difficulty that keeps punishing you until you finally succeed. But with Hades, there's actual accessibility options that make the game still fun, yet still challenging, but not enough to drive you absolutely insane. Death, at least most of the time, feels justified, and you can see what you did wrong and how you can improve. And when you finally get the satisfaction of clearing the game, you've completed the tutorial. Major spoilers ahead, so if you haven't completed the game yourself, I highly encourage you to, and you can skip to the timestamp on the screen to avoid them. Escaping the underworld for the first time is only the beginning. You still have to do it a total of roughly 10 times to have actually, quote-unquote, completed the story. And even then, there's still more character interactions, there's still little bits of story to complete. The game can just keep going on. There's just enough random elements in the power-ups you get along the way to make every run feel unique, while you still feel in control of what you're doing. Insanely fun gameplay, beautiful art direction, phenomenal music, and fantastic character design make this an outstanding title. And honestly, Hades got robbed of the Game of the Year title. But that's where I'll leave that. Before I move on to my number one title of the year, I want to give an honorable mention to a couple different games. Does that make this more than a top 5 list? Probably, but this is my video, I get to make the rules. First up, I want to mention that I played Undertale about 2 years ago now. And while I did my normal playthrough and my pacifist route perfectly fine, the genocide route is where I got stuck. Specifically the boss fight against Undyne. And that's the part I got stuck at and never could get past and finally just put the game down. Well, this year around April, I finally decided to pick it back up and try again. And I finally, after 2 years, beat Undyne and was able to carry on. In a year with not much to celebrate, it felt like a huge achievement, and it was so nice to finally continue on. I'll get back to you when I finally beat Sans. Next up, I of course have to mention Among Us. It honestly baffles me how this game has just taken over everything, especially considering it's not a new game. I've had a lot of fun playing with friends, and it's just really neat to see how it has shaped the culture of this year. And finally, I have to mention Minecraft. The only reason it didn't make it into the list is because I only picked it up here at the beginning of December, so I haven't really got to spend this year with it. And yes, I said picked it up. If you follow my Twitter, I mentioned that I was playing it for the first time, and that is a true statement. I've tried to get into the game before, but I could never really find direction in it, because there's just so many possibilities. But recently, I started playing with my friend Noah on a shared world. We defeated the Ender Dragon, the first time I have ever done that, and then I started up my own world and have put so many hours into it. So it definitely gets an honorable mention, and you can definitely expect some Minecraft content from me in 2021. And now, time to finally talk about my favorite game from this year. And trust me, I cannot shut up about this game. Anybody that really knows me knows my love for the classic Paper Mario games. And no, I'm not about to bring up the whole debate on old Paper Mario versus new Paper Mario. Just know that I do love Thousand Year Door and could go back and play it a million times if I wanted to. So when I first heard about and saw gameplay of Bug Fables: The Everlasting Sapling, I was in love. Spiritual successors don't always go perfectly. I know there was all that controversy over Mighty Number 9, and for me personally, while I did enjoy Yooka-Laylee, it does not capture the same energy as the old Banjo-Kazooie games. So playing through Bug Fables and seeing how it captured the magic of the old Paper Mario games and then improved on their design, I can't even begin to explain how happy it makes me. I truly have to give my hat off to Moonsprout Games. The world they created, the mechanics they've been able to refine, the characters. Oh, the characters. While they didn't exactly bring back the same partner system the old Paper Mario games had, they gave the characters of V, Kabu, and Leaf so much personality and so many great interactions that we didn't even need anybody else in the game. Just the three of them together were perfect. V always finds a way to get herself into trouble. Kabu is steadfast and resilient, but still has his soft side. And Leaf, they are... the mystery surrounding them and the story you get to uncover is emotional. For a little bug. And that's not even getting into all the different side characters you get to meet, the bosses you battle, the combat. Everything about this game is fantastic. I really could go on about it forever. There's so much to explore. It feels like this giant, grand world of mystery, and then at one point you get to climb up a tree and see that you're just in a backyard, 'cause you're bugs. There's even a whole card battle system. It's insane the amount of content that's packed into this game, and how good it is. There really isn't much more I can say about it, because you have to go play this game for yourself. It is phenomenal, and I am desperately waiting for a sequel. It is the perfect example, the gold standard for how a spiritual successor should be done, and hopefully other companies take note and can continue on what they built. Seriously, why are you still here listening to me? The game's like $20. Just go buy it, go play it now. Hey guys, that's the end of the video. You're welcome to click off here, but if you want to stick around for just a second, I just want to say thank you. It's been a rocky year. We can all agree on that, but I started this channel and I started streaming over a year ago, almost 2 years ago now, originally under the name Kane in the Game. I went with it strong for a little bit, wasn't very good at video editing. I still wouldn't consider myself great at it now, but I've definitely already come a long way. I dropped it off there for a little bit when I got busy with work. Pandemic happened, got laid off. Kind of rebirthed this all under the name Arcade Weasel, which has been wonderful. I like it a whole lot more. It's a fun and exciting brand. My artist Harley on Twitter has been making awesome artwork for me. As you can see, the little you'll notice in the corner of every video, profile pictures, everything is the actual little Arcade Weasel. His name is Zekro, and Harley designed him, and then has even been making me a whole bunch of different different variations of Zekro. So those are really cool. Those will be used a lot in different thumbnails and stuff, so those will be really cool to show you. So go give him a follow. Not only is he my artist, he's my hype man. He anytime there's a stream, there's a new video, whatever, he's there hyping me up. So I really appreciate him for that. I really appreciate other people I've met in the gaming community and streaming community, whatnot. People I've hung out with, I've played games with. You know, I want to do kind of collaboration type stuff in the future, for sure, because that's always fun to do. And it makes it easier to make content, because you're just playing video games with people, and you happen to record it, so I love that. But, yeah, even this year, there was a little bit of a drop-off. Dad got COVID back in November, and that really kind of put a damper on things. We weren't sure for a while if he was going to make it. It didn't look promising, but thankfully he pulled through. He is recovering, and we're all just making the best out of it we can. But I'm kind of that put me kind of behind, put me in kind of a pitfall that I've been working to climb out of, and I'm starting to get to that point. I want to get back to streams, obviously making YouTube content, stuff like that. So I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate, even if you just take the time to watch a video, if you like it, if you comment on it, anything like that. If you pop in for a stream, talk in chat, even just watch for 5 minutes, you know, any little bit of support you give really means the world to me. So it's time for 2021. Let's see what the world can throw at us. Thank you so much. I'll see you all later. Wait, I normally do it with this hand. Yeah, because I gotta cut it off with the other hand. Okay, thanks guys, bye.